Next in the series of 7 firm reasons why we have not found Atlantis yet is the geological losses and gains of landmass and natural disasters. In the search for Atlantis, we must not ignore the vast amount of time that has influenced geological changes since the great cities were destroyed or abandoned. Alluvial deposits of rivers have since filled up many bays where ancient towns and cities had once been built. One example is found in the southwest region of modern Spain. In this region, along the Guadalquivir River, an enormous region of many square kilometers once contained a bay dotted with powerful sediments on its coastline, only to have over time filled up as various types of landmass. Only the cities on the high points could have retained any resemblance to what they had once appeared as, and that is also if they are fortunate enough to have been excavated. It is important to note that this is one of the areas that the ancient empire of Atlantis would have been establishing their metals trade centers, cooperating with the local chieftains. Erosion is yet another geological change that occurs over time, being exactly the opposite to silting up. Erosion from the sea has been responsible in many regions for basically hauling away as much as a few kilometers of land from the coastline. What might have been coastal settlements, or even whole cities, could have slipped away into the sea, leaving nothing but jagged cliffs and water below them. Examples of cities that are known to have experienced this phenomenon are Cadiz and Malaga in the south of Spain. Even the archaeologists active in these regions humbly admit that it is difficult to imagine the original coastal sites and the islands connected with them. We must also not exclude modern alterations to the coastlines, such as infilling, dredging, and industrial operations. In the case of Atlantis itself, we have to then consider a third but quite important geological issue. What would have been physically lost due to the destruction by which Plato records had happened to Atlantis so long ago? Modern geology tells us confidently that a very large landmass cannot simply sink beneath the sea. So the question then remains of what had happened to the land Atlantis was on. The great destruction could have been permanent to the civilization, but not to the landmass itself. A major earthquake capable of large-scale destruction, followed by a cataclysmic tsunami, could have completely covered a large section of the Atlantean plain. This would have wiped out the people and many of the ground structures in a very short time. Yet, this flooding could have only lasted for a period of time. After the water covering the land had receded, it would have left the cities in complete ruins. After thousands of years, Atlantis would have been buried by both the initial sediment and the damage from the destruction, as well as the sediment which would later accumulate for many centuries. The great capital, with all its ring canals and palaces, would therefore be buried even deeper than the once lost city of Troy, as Troy was on a hilltop and Atlantis on a flat plain. Geologically speaking, Atlantis is the most likely to be found not deep in the Atlantic Ocean, but deep beneath multiple layers of sediment and soil off the coast of a once fertile plain, and rimmed by great mountains and rolling hills.